Hi there, I'm Suzette Kroll, registered dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide. In today's session, we're going to be talking all about protein shakes. For about a year following surgery, you're going to be on a high protein diet. That first year, give or take, could be 6 months, could be 18 months, but around a year is when you're going to lose most of your weight. And it's really important in that most of your weight loss period that you're on a high protein diet. This is to help you feel full, to minimize hair loss, and especially important, to minimize muscle loss. A high protein diet is defined as 60 to 80 grams of protein per day, or if you're 6 foot or taller, 100 grams of protein per day. Now, it's going to be impossible to get that much protein from food, from solid food, especially right after your surgery. So you're going to have to depend on these protein shakes for all of your protein in the beginning, and then you use them as long as you need to keep using them to help hit that 60 to 80 grams of protein per day. As you're able to add more food, you can count the protein count from the food that you're eating, and slowly you'll need to use less protein drinks. But again, in the beginning, you're going to need to use a lot of them and probably for a while. So you need to find a brand or a combination mixture that you like. So let's talk more about these now. Your goal starting today is going to be to start trying them if you haven't already, and make sure you have something in mind that you like that you can start after surgery. You have two options. You can either use ready-to-drink protein shakes, or you can make your own from scratch using protein powder and a blender. So I'll talk about both here. Look for protein drinks that have a high protein count so that you can hit your protein goal without having to drink so many of them. So you can see with these brands here on the screen, there's 40 grams each one, so you only have to drink 2 to hit that protein goal of 80 grams per day. I'm going to be showing a lot of products on the screen as I go through here, so it's a good time to take screenshots or to stop the video and take some notes. These are some other brands that are popular. These all have 30 grams of protein, so you'd have to drink 2 of them to hit the lower end of that protein range, 60 grams per day. Or almost 3 of them to hit 90 grams per day if you drink all 3. And it is fine to go over a little bit. Now, you're going to have a bit of a volume problem after surgery, meaning you have a little tiny stomach and a lot of volume to get down here with the protein drinks. And you also have that 64 ounces of fluid that you're supposed to be drinking. These protein drinks do not count toward the 64 ounces of fluid goal. So this is why it's important to pick protein drinks or mix protein drinks so that they have big numbers of protein. So you only have to drink maybe a couple of them to hit the goal. Now, these with 30 grams of protein can be made stronger or higher in protein by simply adding an unflavored protein powder right into them. So again, you don't have to drink so many of them. The brand on the screen is Syntrax Nectar. It's unflavored, unsweetened protein powder. 1 scoop of it has 10 grams of protein. So if you just stir it right in the ready-made drinks that have 30 grams of protein, you're making it 40, and then you only have to drink 2 of them to hit the protein goal. Now, you do need to pay attention to the calorie count in these protein drinks. We talked about they need to be high protein, but you don't want to disregard the calories. The calories do matter. So this is a good rule of thumb. The calories shouldn't be more than 10 times the protein count. In this example, the protein is 30 and the calories are 160. So 10 times 30 is 300. The calories should not be more than 300, and they are not. They're 160. So this Premier is a good choice. Another rule of thumb is to make sure the sugar is low. So 5, maybe 8 grams is a good cutoff point. Make sure it's low sugar, and here the Premier is only 1 gram. And then finally, make sure the protein is higher than the carbohydrate. So 30 grams of protein here, 4 carbs, perfect. So again, this is a good choice and a pretty common choice among our patients. You also have the option to make your own, starting from scratch using protein powder. So you'll need to pick the powder and then decide which you're going to mix it with. Now, there's a whole row, seems like, of protein powder in the stores now, and they can be quite confusing. So let me explain a little bit of the difference here between them all. First off, whey means milk. So whey protein, W-H-E-Y, whey means milk. Whey protein and whey isolate protein are 2 different things. They're a little bit different. Whey means milk, but whey isolate means the protein is isolated away from the lactose in the milk. So whey isolate protein powders are lactose free. Now whey, whether it's whey or whey isolate, whey protein is the most usable kind of protein by your body for muscle preserving purposes. So when you're just coming out of surgery and you're relying on protein drinks and protein powders for all of your protein, the best choice to start off with is whey or whey isolate. Now, if you do a quick Google search, 100% whey isolate protein powders, you can find a whole variety of brands. A lot of this is just trial and error, finding a brand that you like the taste of. These are some popular ones here on the screen that a lot of our patients use. If you find that you don't like them or they just don't sit well with you, you might actually throw them up. Then you want to move along to a different kind of protein powder. So you have options. There's egg protein, soy protein, pea protein, because there's protein in eggs and soy and peas. And then there's this whole world of plant proteins out there as well. And these are usually pea protein or some combination pea and rice or pea and rice and quinoa or something like that. They do vary quite a bit on their nutritional content and how much of the product you have to use to get the protein. So make sure you're looking at the nutrition fact label. So looking at the one on the left and the right up here on the screen, you can see a pretty big difference. The first one here has 21 grams of protein, 160 calories. So the calories are fine, but you do have to use 2 scoops of it to get those 21 grams of protein. So remember, you need 60 to 80 grams of protein per day. So you'd have to mix 3 or 4 drinks using 2 scoops of powder each one. So that might become a little bit bulky and just really hard to get that much volume down if you were using just this product to try to get your 60 to 80 grams of protein per day. The one on the right is 20 grams of protein, only 120 calories for it, so it's a little bit less. It's also quite lower in the carbohydrate count. And you only have to use 1 scoop of it to get those 20 grams of protein down. So you'd still have to mix 3 or 4 shakes of using 1 scoop each one to hit your 60 to 80 grams of protein per day. So keep that in mind. You can buy protein powders pretty much any grocery store, drugstore now, online. And then once you buy it and you have it home, you have to decide what you're going to mix it with. So you have a lot of options. You've got water, any sugar-free beverage, unsweet almond milk, even decaf coffee. None of these have protein, so the only protein count you're going to pick up is whatever's in the actual protein powder. So if you mix this protein powder, let's say it has 30 grams of protein in the scoop, and you mix it with water, your combination is going to be 30 grams of protein. And then you would have to drink 2, almost 3 mixed like that to hit your protein goal. Now, how much water you use or how much liquid you use with the protein powder is totally up to you. My suggestion is start with 4 to 8 ounces. You want to use as little fluid as possible because remember, you're going to have to drink multiple protein drinks and the 64 ounces of fluid. But you also have to make it palatable. So if you don't mix enough liquid with the protein powder, it's going to turn out kind of gloppy, maybe like pudding texture and be hard to drink. Sometimes when they're a bit thinner, it makes it easier for you to drink them. So you'll have to play around with the amount of fluid and find what works for you. There's not really a hard and fast rule on it. Now you can also mix the powder with milk, yogurt, or soy milk. These all have protein and you can count the protein in them toward the total amount. So for example, let's say you use this Fairlife milk, which is a lactose-free milk. There's 13 grams of protein in it. If you mix it with the protein powder that has the 30 grams in it, 13 plus 30 would be 43. So then you'd only have to drink 2 protein drinks mixed up like this to hit that higher end of the range, the 80. So hopefully you get the idea. You can use either a shaker cup or a blender to mix in. It's your choice. Some protein powders are clumpier than others, so you might find you like the texture better in a blender. You can use ice or no ice. That's totally up to you as well. Now here's a quick tip. You can blend all your protein drinks for the day at one time, so you don't have to keep going back and back to the blender. So for example, let's say you were using a protein powder with 30 grams of protein in it. and you want to hit the 80 grams per day, maybe use about 3 scoops of the powder, close to 3 scoops, and as much water as you want. If you were using 8 ounces as a rule of thumb, you would need 24 ounces of water. 8 times 3 is 24, and then almost 3 scoops of powder. Mix it all at once, and then you know that whole blender has your protein count for the day, and by the end of the day, you need to complete everything in the blender. So hopefully that helps save time, and it makes it easy then to know what you have to finish to accomplish your protein goal. If you have trouble coming up with your own combinations, use Pinterest. There's tons of creative ideas there. Be sure to see me on Pinterest, Suzette Kroll. You can make your protein drinks taste like dessert. You can make them taste like coffee drinks. There's just oodles and oodles, endless amounts of ideas on Pinterest, so be sure to see it. Okay, your nutrition goal, start trying out these protein shakes. If you need further help, let me know. I'll see you next time. I'm Suzette Kroll, registered dietitian. I'm your personal nutrition guide.